Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to everyone tuning into all the platforms, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, everyone all around the world on the SimShed Broadcasting Network, right here from Kentucky Speedway for the next installment of the Weekend Warriors NASCAR League from Kentucky Speedway. Joining me in the booth tonight is Andrew Collins. A very warm welcome to you tonight, Andrew. How are you going tonight, mate?
Doing very well, mate. Yourself? How did you go last week? I didn't catch last week's race. You did all right? Or?
Do we talk about the start and to the middle to the three-quarter, or do we talk about the end? If we want to talk about the start, middle, three-quarter, in the top two the whole race, but it didn't turn out as I planned, but it was a really good week, weekend that weekend to be a part of the memorial round for the Weekend Warriors League. It was really fun. It was a really great weekend to be a part of. So great to get out of the broadcast booth that weekend and show people the medal I had and that I can actually steer at the same time. So really good. Did you tune in and watch that one, Andrew?
Oh, I missed it, mate, to be honest. We had internet issues here, so I was meant to actually commentate with it, but internet problems as we encounter sometimes in this realm we race in, but it's good to have you back in the box, mate.
Yeah, good to have you back here with me as we see someone just collect the wall as we go into the Finger Lickin 400 here from Kentucky Speedway, brought to you live here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network. Really looking forward to tonight's race. It can be a tricky track, Kentucky. It is a two-lane track, very tyre wear orientated, very, very sweeping oval main straight. There's not really a main straight, as you can see there, ladies and gentlemen, looking at it right there. What are you looking forward to the most tonight, Andrew, going into this race? I know that you're not a big fan usually of oval racing, but what are you looking forward to the most?
This one brings up a bit of difference. So it'd be, I think the first... How many of these triangle type, well, I call them triangle type tracks are there? I think the first one I commentated had the same thing. And it's a little bit more interesting than just your round and round and round. I'm not a massive fan of NASCAR myself, but the strategy that comes into play is what interests me the most. So tyre wear, fuel wear, where you want to be when you want to pit. It's interesting to watch for that spectacle, from my opinion.
Yeah, with this track, Andrew, you said, sort of like the triangle. It's not really the triangle if I put it back in a NASCAR or oval perspective. It's like a 1.5 mile. Very different on the tyre wear. That front straight with we call it a tri-oval. If you talk about NASCAR, so your flat bicky. If we want to talk triangle, we're talking about Pocono and stuff like that. But it's about a 1.5 mile with a tri-oval through the center. So and the curving or the banking and stuff around Kentucky is not massive, as you can see there, ladies and gentlemen. So them being able to manage that right-hand front tyres, we see a car in practice there just completely getting to the wall is going to be really imperative of a fast race car. So we'll see how we go, Andrew.
Yeah, no, very good. It'll be interesting. Like, I'm learning a lot. It's good to have, like I said, it's good to have you back in the booth. Someone with a bit of perspective that understands the racing a little bit better than I do. So we'll see how we go. The same names up the front. We see JCW always does really well in these cars. Leading at the moment on my timing board, and then Durand in second. Dave, I haven't seen up there much. Is he? So we've got Reuben Phelps and Tomlin, obviously pretty common. But Dave how do I pronounce that?
Dave Trevethan.
Trevethan. Yeah, I haven't seen his name up before.
He's always really quick. Another one to look out for with the same first name tonight is Dave Duran out of the United States of America. He is really quick. He's actually leading the series, I think, still going into tonight, as I'm just catching up and finding the timing as we are live at the moment. Also, who else is going to be quick? You're going to see Barry Neal if he's joined at the moment, which I don't think he has. will be
He
quick.
has. It looks like he's done some laps, but he's in the pits at the moment, Barry Neal. So he's done a 30 point. Where it just blinked out on me there. 30.68 is his best lap.
Yeah, and also Darren Mckenzie. He's been up there in this series the whole year, or the whole season rather. So he's going to be really quick. He's had some really, really good results lately. He struggled probably, and he'll be the first, like I've said on the broadcast several times before, he has struggled with managing his tyres. He's never had a problem with having pace in that car, but he's struggled to manage his tyres. But it seems like he's got his head around that lately and had a couple of really good results. So we'll see how he goes tonight here at Kentucky.
Yeah, boys just warming up, getting into the swing of things. As we've seen, it's very hard to pick at the moment. Same guys up the front, but no saying they'll be there at the end of qualifying. So, definitely.
Yeah, take no notice of the positions here, ladies and gentlemen, through practice, because that has no reference to what they're going to do through qualifying and the race. You get a little bit of a draft, especially down here, down the back straight. In qualifying, I don't know if you guys know, watching here on the stream on the SimShed Broadcasting Network, that as we see another car go into the wall, which is unfortunate, and it looks like they're about to go into qualifying by the looks of that. But so with qualifying, it is a 2-lap, 5-minute standalone qualifying, so they get no draft. So what you just saw here in practice has nothing to do with what's going to happen, as we see Dave Douglas leaving the pits now, about to go out and set a time early.
I noticed I was watching a stream the other day, it would have been yesterday, on NASCAR, trying to learn a bit more about it. And I noticed guys in the pits were actually, it might have even been your stream, Aiden, but guys in the pits were actually talking about where the sun was and waiting for it to go behind the cloud before they went out. That sort of amazed me a bit.
Yeah, 100%, and that would have been my stream. But yeah, you do wait and get the cloud cover. You want the track to be as cold as possible. So, yeah, definitely do. But we're definitely seeing some really good opening laps at the moment, as Dave Douglas is about to come on to the green flag lap, or he might actually be setting a time here. I'm just trying to catch up with the timing. We'll see what timing happens, but he's got a green and a purple sector for the first lap as we go around. So he hasn't actually set a lap yet. Yes, he has. He's just set a 30.92, which is set the benchmark as we're there with Mirko Dortnak. Now we're on with Paul Jackson, I believe, in the 231 car. We're trying to keep up here on who we have. So currently, Paul Jackson's just gone to the top. Just gone to a top with 30.71. Great lap by Paul Jackson. Scott McClintock in second. I can't keep up. Dave Douglas has now gone to P2. Oh, I can't do this for 2 hours. This is just going crazy. Barry Neal to the top. Barry Neal to 30.46.
That's quick.
Mirko Dortnak's had a solid drive there too, did a 30.81. We've just had Scott McClintock do a second lap, which was better and Nigel Patton's on a purple. Let's see how the Activity Hub Barley driver goes as he goes across the line. Nigel Patton, where's it going to fall? P2. Great lap there, though, by Nigel Patton.
Tried to make that as short as he could, didn't he? Cut right down along the yellow line there.
That was a really good lap by Nigel. He loves racing this NASCAR stuff. He's actually an ex-teammate of mine, and that's a really good lap by him. So really proud of him to be able to pull that out. But we'll see as we go into the back end of the qualifying now to see who can make gains, as we have Mark Johansson in the front of us at the moment going through. So we will see what happens. I'll let you take through a couple of minutes of qualifying here, mate. And I need to get a drink of water before I sit down for 2 hours, because I feel like I'm going to lose my voice. So you take it through for the next 2 minutes or a minute, and I'll be back.
No worries, mate. We'll just we're on board with Mark, so we'll follow him in the mobile car. Get a bit of a look at the track from, well, not what he's seeing. He's probably seeing it from a bit further back in the driver's seat, but you see they shortcut this bit here on the main straight there across the start-finish line. Up high, and then run it in deep here. Try and keep that left front wheel as close to the yellow line as you can, and then run it out wide. Trying to keep as much speed, obviously, as you can in these cars. It's all about momentum. What do we got? So we've got Barry Neal still in first with a best of 3:46. Nigel Payton with a best of 3.54. So he's a couple of hundredths up there, Barry. But we'll see where we go. So Dave Trevington into the pits.
Great drive by everyone at the moment there, and thanks for covering me there, Andrew. But great driving by everyone in qualifying. It very close at the top. If you have a look at those times, we go from a 30.46 to a 30.54, and then go all the way down to P14. There's not even 2 tenths in between them. So very, very, very close times here in qualifying for the next installment of the Weekend Warriors right here from Kentucky Speedway for the Simshed Broadcasting Network. As we have just gone through qualifying, and we are about to go green for 400 miles, is it, I believe, or something? 400 kilometres, so a really long one tonight here at Kentucky. So we'll just go in now as the guys are about to grid up, Andrew, and we'll wait for the starting order to come up and we'll run the viewers through it.
That's good. We'll try and skip over to the track notes if we can, JP. Here we go.
So the track notes for this tonight, we're here from Kentucky Speedway. It's 2.414 kilometres in length. Tonight we are going to see the guys tackle 166 laps, which equals 400.7 kilometres in distance. We have a 56.6 litre fuel restriction tonight, and we expect them to have 4 to 5 pit stops. Average 1.17 litres fuel burn per lap, and they have 4 sets of tyres that they can take through their pit stops. So with a 4 to 5 pit stop limit, they're going to have to double stint one. We're currently there today on the date that we're at, and the race start. Air temp tonight is 25 degrees Celsius. Track temp's 26 degrees. We've got a 3 kilometre wind speed and northerly wind direction as we move into the Finger Lickin 400 here from Kentucky. And Andrew, as we move into the grid, off P1, we have Barry Neal from Adiora Racing that I can never pronounce, but let's keep moving on. P2, Nigel Payton, Activity Hub Barley Racing. Reuben Phelps from RP Motorsport out of New Zealand in 3. Dave Treatherton, Team XCM out of P4. P5 is Darren Mckenzie from Team Hyperdrive. P6 is Paul Jackson out of the team that I can never pronounce again. P7, Scott McClintock, SNAFU Motorsport. P8, Dave Douglas out of Mark 1 Esports. P9, Mirko Dortnack. He's actually Crank Esports as he sees private here. Michael Schroeder out of 263 Esport. In 10, 11, Jamie Nankervis out of EFT Racing, and 12 is Kobe Jordan, Iridium Sim Sports. Andrew?
Yeah, we go into 13. We've got Paul Drady there, Christopher Tolan off the road. Adam Ariel, I can never pronounce, I just can't get my tongue around that name, but Mark Smith, Nathan Button, Dylan Davies, Dylan Gray, Sean Stamper, Sean King, Mark Johannesson, Tristan Cock, and Derek Jacobs. And we move over there to Will Jesberg, David Durand, Matt Patton, Michael Shaw, and Joshua Carroll. Well, which is weird because he was running at the top of the grid there. So I don't know if that's a a game he's playing to try and start from the back and come through, or he just didn't set a qualifying lap?
Yeah, I believe
Sure.
he may not have set a qualifying lap there, Andrew. He might have had an issue and just collected the wall or something, but he's starting from the back, so he's going to be someone to watch as we're about to go green here for the Finger Lickin Good 400.
Yeah, it looks like he has an issue there. It doesn't even show him up on the track. So anyway, we'll get back to the
we
race.
are about to go green for the Finger Licking 400, and here we are green on a Saturday night for the next instalment of the Weekend Warriors League as we see Barry Neal get a good jump, Reuben Phelps on the inside, Nigel Payton, who had a really, really good qualifying, holding his own on the outside, Darren Mckenzie on the inside. Let's see if they can all sort each other out as they get into this race. This is a very, very long race, so really excited to see if these guys can get through the first couple of laps without an incident. But knowing the quality of these drivers, it's going to be amazing as we are on board right now with Dave Truthen and going around the outside, doing a really good job. As I said earlier, Andrew, this track, as you see Dave going to the outside there, it will become 2 lanes. So don't get excited too early, ladies and gentlemen, of this one-by-one racing. People's cars are going to come into their own. So, Andrew, take it away for a second and get amongst it, because I feel like I'll talk over you and just keep going. So, get amongst it, mate.
You're right, mate. Like I said, you know these cars better than I do, so you're probably better for the people watching to listen to. But it's going to be one of those games where you just have to sort of take your time, I'd imagine, and try and keep the car as tight and clean as you can, and look to the end of the race. Where are we looking strategy-wise, Aiden? What, if you were racing, what would your call be?
Look, I can't answer that at the moment. I've literally been out having dinner at the local RSL tonight, so I haven't had a chance to jump in and chuck that fuel drop into the car and have a look and see where they're going to pit. But we'll be able to pick that up, because I will pick people up in the broadcast and we'll actually get them to tell the viewers real world while they're in the car. I haven't told them before we've come in, but I know the drivers that will allow me to do it. So not sure on what their fuel's going to be and where they're going to be, but at the moment we'll let them settle into a race groove and let the race start panning out as we see the guys start to get into the groove, and we'll bring that to the viewers at home.
Yeah, definitely. It will be a long one. So, what have we got? Not many movers. David Durand's up 7 spots. He's about the biggest mover we've got. Dylan Davies looks like, unfortunately, he's dropped 5 spots, so he's the lowest. But it's still, not sure what happened with JCW there, but maybe you can find out, Aiden. You'll have links to have a chat with him maybe and see what's going on there.
Yeah, I'll make sure I'll do that in due course in a second as we're on board with David Duran. So really weird to see David back here at the moment. He's not usually back here, so really weird. But the one to look out for tonight, I think, who's currently in P2 is Reuben Phelps. He's had a sensational drive lately in the last couple of weeks on iRacing. He's been doing a really, really good job out of New Zealand. So as we're on board there with Darren Mckenzie right behind him, Barry Neal's got the jump on in at the moment, but Reuben has been driving sensational at the moment. So don't be surprised for him to come back and get Barry. But we see Darren Mckenzie there giving him a lot of grief on the back, so it's not going to help him with his aero. But we'll see. But since you said that, mate, I'll let you take over and I'll go back in behind the scenes and see whether we can get a little bit of an insight with what happened with JCW.
Thanks, mate. It's pretty much not a lot happening as we run on board with Darren Mckenzie here. O2 is in position number 3, so it looks like Barry Neal's just skipped away nearly a second on the crowd, so he's 0.8 of a second. But Reuben seems to be on the march here, so as we jump on board with the American, our mate David Duran. replay. Here we go. Simsnap.com replay. Something happened. David Durand, right. David Durand's just got past Kobe Jordan there. Our mate from America must be, 4 a.m. over there again. So he's just knocked off work from when we spoke to him. I spoke to him last time. He works night shift, so works out well for him. As we go back on board here with Durand, he's in.
Okay, Andrew, I'm back. And I've just spoken to JCW, and I'm sorry to cut you off if you're in the middle of something, but we've got the lowdown on what happened to Joshua Carroll-Walden when it transitioned from qualifying into the race. There was a little bit of an issue with internet, and he just got back in for the race, so that's why he started at the rear of the field. So he wasn't willing to come up and chat at the moment as we're on board with the 35 FGM E-Cars Natari Autosports with a lap down, but he said he will come on board with us if there's a first caution or something to be able to let us know.
Very good. Good to know what's at least happening there for the viewers.
As we see Dylan Gray here in the 19 car be really pressured by the number 3 car on the inside as the number 3 car takes that position coming in. We really need to just chill out here and just talk. Jamie Nankervis doing really good on the high side there in the 18 EFT racing car around the outside. Like I said, this will become a 2-groove track, but I think we just need to calm and chill for a little bit. We're only 12 laps into 166, and as we've seen all the time as Dave Duran tries to go up the inside of Jamie Nankervis, and he is definitely on the march, and he's running a different livery tonight. Usually he runs a DuPont inspired, Jeff Gordon inspired livery. So he's changed it up for tonight. But yeah, we'll see how we go. And usually, Andrew, as you see in these races in the last 10 laps, we get a little bit loud. So we might go a little bit soft for next 100 laps, but we'll see what happens as we go on, as Dave Duran's really on a march at the moment. Really moving himself up into P13 rather, taking 13 places from his starting position. But is he burning out his tyres trying to get track position? So we're about to find out as this stint moves on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. As you said, a long way to go. So the boys that just want to tuck it in and try and hit their markers, cut the same lap time after time after time, and be there for the final sprint for the years. So.
Yeah, definitely. And Dave Douglas had a good start as well. He's up 4 positions from his starting position as we're on board now. Nigel Payton is down 3. It looks like he is just taking it easy at the moment and managing that car with Mirko Dortnak from Crank Esports, my teammate, giving him a little bit of curry up behind him at the moment, trying to keep him honest. So we'll see what Mirko's got on a long run. But really good driving by all these guys at the moment. We're lap 16 into 166 here on the Finger Lickin 400 from Kentucky, brought to you right here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network on all your platforms, Facebook, YouTube, etc. So really good driving by these guys. No cautions as far, and looks like we are about to see that happen for the next 140 laps, or at least, Andrew, I hope so, because that's where strategy and driving comes into play, as we see Mirko still right on the back there of Nigel Payton.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the biggest part of the game, isn't it? Is your strategy and tyre wear, and very hard to pass and overtake and have that close sort of racing that we're used to seeing here in Australia. But what amazes me about these cars, and like I said, I don't race them personally, but watching them is geometry. And being a mechanic myself, I understand sort of how cars work, and changing the car a millimetre in tow can change these things insanely. So you've got to make sure that the setup's right. And I know they all run the same setup, but just being able to adjust little tweaks here and there on these cars is what will gain you what won't, and what will put you back, I suppose.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Hit the nail on the head. The things you can change here, so this is a fixed setup league, so everyone does have the same setup, but there are tweaks in these NASCARs that you can make. So it can be to do with your steering ratio, so anything from 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 to 1. The narrower your steering ratio, so the lower, you're going to wear your tyre up a lot more. It's going to, as we see Dave Durand into the wall. But we go back to what I was saying, the narrower the steering ratio, very more pointy, very good, but not really good on a long run. If you can get a good lap time out of a higher steering ratio, that's going to really save your front right tyre. So generally, if I was running, I'd be running around about the 12 to 14 to 1. And it's not going to give you an initial good lap speed, but over a long run, as we're seeing now, 20 laps in, you will definitely make an advantage. You can also make changes to your brake bias. So sometimes you're going to trail brake into these corners, especially as the run goes on. Not so much earlier, but as the run goes on, you'll trail brake into the corners. So you can move your brake bias either forward to the front, which obviously as you get on the brakes, it's going to want to push the front, or you can move it to the back. But then at the same time, if you move it backwards and you get on the brakes too hard, it's going to want that rear to come around on you. So as we see Mirko Dortnack there make the move on Nigel Payton, there's also a steering offset that you can make a change to. So it could be, that's all about where your steering wheel is. So you could be in a straight motion, but your steering wheel could be like 5 minutes off to the right or 5 minutes off to the left. All to do with where these guys feel comfortable. So outside of that, not a lot you can do on these fixed setups, but they definitely do create lap time, and over a long run, they do create a long run pace. So not sure what these guys have done, but I'll guarantee you a lot of these guys are running 10 or probably 12 to 1 in their steering ratio. But in saying that, as we get on board with guys later, I'll probably be made out to be a fool as we see Michael Schroeder going around the outside there of David Duran from the United States of America. And let's just stay on this for a moment and watch what Michael Schroeder does, because Michael's an old hand at ovals and he's running that high side. And let's see if it shows what I said, whether there's going to be those two lanes and whether Michael gets around David on that high side, because the longer you run on that low side over a long run, it is really going to hurt those front right tyres. But it go as it looks like that Michael is getting around the outside.
Yeah, going on. I think we might... who have we got? So Barry Neal is up the front. 0.7 of a sec. Well, we've just jumped there. Douglas on having a go at Mckenzie here for P3 and 4.
Yeah, good move there by Dave Douglas. Dave's a master of these cars. He's done many a years through ANSCAR and all type of things with these cars. So as I referenced earlier before we got into the race, Darren might be struggling a little bit here on tyre wear. He never struggles with outright pace, but on a long run, sometimes he does struggle, as it shows as the 199 car there of Dave Douglas makes the move for P3. But we've got Reuben Phelps now slowly getting on the back of Barry Neal, who went out hard early. I think Reuben's going to come back to him over this run, but really, really good drive here by Barry. He's started off pole, clean set of heels, made the move, and completely leading the field and showing a great set of heels. So we'll see whether Reuben's got something for him. But like I said, Andrew, long way to go. We've got pit stops to go through yet. People missing pit stops or pit bays. We have tyre changes, what they're going to take, fuel drops. We've got so much stuff to go on, as we are only 27 laps into the Finger Lickin 400 here from Kentucky on the SimShed Broadcasting Network.
You got to love the name though, don't you? Finger Licking, obviously. relating to Kentucky Fried Chicken for anyone that's a little bit slower there, but I like that. Very good.
You know, the funny thing is, I actually had Kentucky Fried Chicken for dinner tonight, mate. So,
Okay.
it suits the night tonight. Don't know what they had. Looks like Darren Mckenzie's now being passed by Mirko Dortnack into P4. So I think Darren's really... old Mickey D. I think Darren's really struggling on the tyres here. So, yeah, exactly what I said in the pre-race. So don't know what's happening. It could be wrong. He could just be playing it easy at the moment and cruising around, but it really looks like he's struggling, as we saw Mirko get up in front of Darren. So we'll see how we go. We're going to be coming up on a pit stop very shortly.
Do you think, Aiden, that JCW will be able to get back onto the end of the train and make something of the race, or if you're down a lap, you're out in this game?
Definitely can. One caution, and he can get the lucky dog and get around, or if we have a pit stop at the correct time for him, he can stay out that lap and then get on the lead lap, and then if a caution comes out straight away. So a lap down in oval racing generally does not mean that much, especially this early into a 166 lap race. So I don't think JCW will be that worried at the moment, but if we keep going as we're going, he's not going to be able to get it up, but get that back rather. But yeah, wrong terminology.
Sorry, that's my immature brain coming through.
Yeah, but not sure whether he'll be able to get that back. But it's still a long way to go. Still 135 laps to go. So he will definitely be there at the end somewhere. We're not going to go through this whole race without caution, as we see Dave Durand sacrificing another spot now to the 29 car. So I think Dave Durand got into the wall earlier, as we saw, so that's not going to be helping his car. But he had a really, really good start. He's up into P13, I believe, at the moment, or now to 14, P13, P14. Yeah, so he was going really well. But, yeah, he's just going to need to keep that car nice and clean now and get through this first stint, get any optionals he needs done, and get off into the second stint and get back up there to the front. But at the moment, it looks like Michael Schroeder might have had an incident. Like, not... because, yeah, he must have, because he was going really well around the outside there and he's gone backwards. I have a feeling he's glanced the outside wall as well. So he was well inside the top 10 when I last looked, and he's going backwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour as we see the 2-3-1 of Paul Jackson around the outside of Dave Trevathan.
Another name we haven't seen much of is Will Jesberg. He seems to be up 10 spots in position 15. My apologies. I haven't seen his name before, Aiden.
Yeah, I've seen him about the traps. Will's pretty good. I've raced against him a couple of times. He's there or thereabouts. But as we're back on board with Dave Trevathan in the 521 car, trying to make that move on the inside of Paul Jackson. But Paul's actually been making the move of him around the outside. So you just watch here. If we just watch for a couple of laps, you watch this outside work. I'm actually really good friends with Paul, and we run a series together, and we race against each other a lot. So I know his racing and what he's trying to do tonight. So he's just trying to keep the car clean and trying to keep those tyres. And as you see, as this stint will go on, Paul will persist up there on the outside, and don't be surprised if he ends up making that move. It might not work now, might not work in the next 3 or 4 laps, but he'll just sit there and he'll keep going and keep persevering, because in the next couple of laps, those tyres are really going to hit the mark. But in saying that, we're 36 laps in, rather, to the stint, as we see Paul pull down there onto the bottom line. So Paul might have issues with his tyres, and he tried to move up to just try and save them a bit and cool them down to be able to make a move. So can't catch up with them at the moment. We're on with Paul Drady now in P11 in the 129 car, who's going, oh, there's a car right up high. Very lucky to not get into the wall there. as we see Paul Drady, it says the 129 car, but his car is showing number 29. So sorry if that's confusing from you, the viewers at home. Don't know what's happening there, but yeah, we're on view with Paul Drady, the 29 car in P10.
I say we jump on with the lead car, crank up the volume, and we'll do a couple of laps around this lovely track.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we're here, we're going to let you enjoy the next couple of laps before they transition into the first round of pit stops here at Kentucky Speedway for the next instalment of Weekend Warriors on SimShed Broadcasting. We're going to crank up the volume. We're going to jump on with no other but the leader, Barry Neal, in the number 22 car out of New Zealand. Ladies and gentlemen, sit down, enjoy, crank up your TVs at home and listen to a couple of laps around Kentucky in the NASCAR Cup car. How'd you like that, ladies and gentlemen? A couple of laps there on board with Barry Neal, cranked up the volume on the leader as Barry is, oh no, he's not, sorry. I thought he was about to go in the pits. But yeah, there was a couple of laps there on Kentucky Speedway here for the Finger Lickin 400 on SimShed Broadcasting on board with the 22 there of Barry Neal. I hope you enjoyed that there in your lounge room, on your computer, on your iPad, on your phone, anywhere, whichever way you're watching this on SimShed Broadcasting. Hope you enjoyed a couple of laps there around Kentucky as we see Mark Smith in P8 currently making a move on Nigel Payton for P7, which don't know what's happened with Nigel with his race pace. He started off the front row on the outside of the front row and he's dropped back into P7. So don't know whether he's playing the long game, what he's doing here at the moment, or whether he's struggling with the handling of that car at the moment. But he's moved back quicker than I thought he would have, as we have Dylan Davies there in 15th, and this is a really good paddle pack here, Andrew, at the moment for the minor positions.
It is, and I'm just looking at the timing board. It looks like JCW's got back onto the lead lap. I might be seeing it wrong there, but it looks like he has. So, yeah, he was one of the fastest in practice. and then obviously had the internet issues. So be interesting to see what he can make of it from here.
He'll be right if it goes green to the end. He won't be challenging for the win, but as we just spoke off air before, I really would bang my hat on that there's going to be a caution at some stage, as much as we don't want one. But really good drive by JCW to get himself back on the lead lap. So I'd suggest he's going to be up there, up within the top 10 somewhere. But if we do not go green to the end, there's a yellow that's really going to be in favour of JCW, as we see a really good fight there with Michael Shaw on the outside of Darren Mckenzie, as Darren's trying to make a move on the car in front. He couldn't quite get clear on the inside. It looks like we have a difference of tyres at the moment. We're starting to go through the pit stops, ladies and gentlemen. That's why we saw different cars passing different, as we see Barry Neal, the leader, come into pit lane. We'll see whether Dave Douglas covers him off and comes in as well. Looks like we will see that, but Dave is coming down the back stretch at the moment. We'll see whether Dave covers that off, see what Reuben does. Looks like Reuben went hard really early, and he's dropped back, even though I thought he would come up. So they're coming out onto the main straight at the moment, and Dave's staying out another lap. So he's not going in, and so is Reuben. So here we go. This is going to be interesting. Barry's come in earlier. Remember I said, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to have to double stint a set of tyres. So this could be the one where Reuben and Dave are trying to run longer to make their stop shorter when they have to take their new tyres. So this might help Barry, this might not. So very interesting. I got no idea what's happening here, as we see Darren Mckenzie obviously hasn't taken tyres because he's getting eaten up a million miles an hour. But just remember, ladies and gentlemen, all these guys that have taken tyres, they're going to have to do exactly the same as the cars in front of them or the cars they are passing. They're going to have to do this at the end of the race or the middle of the race or some stage during the race. So there is a long way to play out yet, as we're 50 laps into 166 of the Finger Lickin 400 right here from Kentucky Speedway.
Yeah, no, you're dead right there. You either play the game at the start or you play it at the end, is what I've heard. So a lot around motorsport.
And sorry to cut you off there, mate. We see Dave Douglas blink, and he's come into the pits. I thought he might have. Obviously, we've got fuel issues here, and we need to worry about fuel and what they're doing. But Barry's definitely going to get the overcut or undercut on Dave. But we'll see what Reuben does behind. So I don't know whether I'm saying the wrong thing with the 3 to 4 tyre sets. I'm not sure whether they're going to actually have to double stint at the moment. Great drive for Barry and good hit strategy. I'm just trying to work this out on what they're going to have to do. But Barry's definitely going to have a big advantage on Dave at the moment. But they went green there, as I just heard in my ear. They went green there for about 50 laps. So there's probably only going to be 4 stops, maybe 3, depending if they can fuel save. So, yeah, really good drive there by Barry Neal to be able to make that. But he's done the undercut. And as we saw in the long run before, Dave was getting really quick the longer the run goes on. So we'll see where Dave comes out and where Reuben comes out and where the field lies over the next couple of laps as they all go through their green flag pit stops, Andrew.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Look, as we keep mentioning, long race, 166 laps. You pretty much just got to sit back, enjoy it, and see what plays out.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said earlier in the broadcast as well, last 10, 15 laps is when we're going to get loud, but we'll just sit here and we'll watch Barry do his thing. He'll be sitting right here in behind the car in front. Probably doesn't want to get too close. He either wants to make the move or stay behind him as he goes to make the move, because staying in that hot air, it's just going to burn up your fronts. So we'll see whether Barry wants to make the move or just back off a little bit and allow his car just to cool down a little bit as he come out of the pits. You don't want to use your tyres too early out of the pits, especially as we've seen this race go 54 laps green. So yeah, Yeah, but it looks like he can't make the move on me at the moment. He's going to try. But yeah, we
Gone into the stop there, sorry, mate. From P1, Dave Treatherton's gone into pits.
Yeah, as we saw there, and I just heard from JP in my ear, and we're looking on live timing. We've got 6.5 seconds between Barry Neal and Dave Douglas, but as I said, we expected that because Barry did pit earlier and had 2 or 3 laps on greener tyres, and Dave was definitely going to lose a lot. But what's this going to mean for Barry on the long run, especially right now as he's battling with lap traffic? Whether Dave Douglas is going to be able to get that gap back going into the next pit stop. So we'll see what Barry does and whether he manages his car correctly at the moment. If I was Barry, I would not be fighting with these guys. As we see Mark Johannesson being really gentleman-like, giving a lot of room there, and Barry's now cleared them. So now Barry's got a clean set of heels. He can cool everything down in that car. He can hit his marks and just go around for the next 40 laps until we go green for the next stop, hopefully. And that's going to make it really hard for Dave Douglas because he's got a lot of cars now between him and Barry. So as we're on board there with the 199 car from Mark 1 Esports of Dave Douglas. And yeah, fighting there, Barry. With Barry fighting there did cost him a little bit of time, but we'll see what Dave does on the long run here. We will definitely see what happens. Dave was really quick on the long run. So Barry did pit earlier there and got a lot of time on Dave. He did 2 or 3 laps under green, but that's going to make Barry a little bit susceptible at the back end. I don't even know whether susceptible is a word, but if it's not, I just made it up. So whether he will be at the end of this long run as we are on with Dave Durand from the United States in the 24 car in P13, really fighting Nigel Payton. And Nigel's going backwards at 1,000,000 miles an hour after starting outside of the front row. He's now fighting for 13th and 14th position. So, 12th and 13th position. So, don't know what's happened with Nigel there, whether he didn't have a good pit stop. I know we reported that he was just on the inside of the top 10 before he went into the first green flag pit stops, but yeah, going backwards really quickly. So don't know what's happening here, but we'll see what happens. Andrew, you take over.
Yeah, you've got Payton's down 10. David Duran's up 13 in behind him. So interesting battle going on here. They're all just sort of biding their time, waiting for an opportunity to jump, I think, and just... Here we go, as Duran looks like he's running up the inside there. He's going to push him wide, giving each other a bit of room, which is good. But I think Duran's got him. Yeah, wow.
And as we look at this battle for 12th and 13th, I'm just having a look at my timing, and it's now actually, well, it's not really making me look like a liar per se, because it's going like a yo-yo, ebb and flow, but Barry Neal and Dave Douglas at the front. Dave's nearly brought it to under 5 seconds at the moment. He's slowly coming back. He's now well under 5 seconds, and he was a 10th and a half quicker last lap. And he's slowly coming. So you wait to see this happen and see what happens. Lap traffic is definitely going to play a part in this, as we see Dave Douglas there on screen. He's now put it back to 4.6 seconds, as last time we broadcasted it was nearly at 6. So doing a great job there in the 199 Mark 1 Esports car. And see how he's moving that middle groove and not really going low. I'll guarantee you, from knowing Dave and knowing how he runs, he'll be probably on a 16-to-1 steering ratio tonight, and he'll be running that car very smoothly. So his long run pace is going to be great, as he's just got another 2 tenths out of him in 2 corners. So this is dropping rapidly, folks. We're going to go into 3 seconds quickly. Like, how quickly is this going down, Andrew? Like, I can't keep up.
Yeah, is that something when you're talking about the steering ratio there? Is that something they can adjust in car to tyre wear, or is it how do you work around what you run as a steering? Like, you know what I mean? Like you run a soft or stiff roll bar in the supercars, for example, as the tyres wear. Is it something they can adjust in car or?
No, definitely can't adjust in car.
Right.
It's something that's
Yep.
preset before the race. So
Okay.
you choose your steering ratio, and that's what you've got. So you can make small adjustments like brake bias and all that type of stuff through your pit stops, but you cannot change your steering ratio. No, not at all. As we see Dave Douglas get under the 4-second mark, and he's currently 3.732.169. It's going down quicker than I can eat Skittles. It is going down at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So Barry Neal had a really good strategy there to pit early and got a really good jump, but it is coming back on him quicker than we can talk at the moment. And we're about to go under 2 seconds, I reckon, in the next couple of laps, Andrew.
Looking that way, isn't it, mate? We're on board with Adam here. The two teammates, by the looks of things, it looks like the same livery there. We've got Dylan and Adam following each other around.
As we are on board here, Andrew, with Dave Duran, the 24 car out of the United States of America, trying to make a move on the Lego car. I've called him the Lego car all year. I'm just going to call him the Lego car in the 212 as he makes the move there for position on the 212. So Dave Durand out of the United States of America doing a really good job to come back up after a little bit of unfortunate incidents earlier to put his car in P11 at the moment, who is actually the current series leader, I believe, at the moment. So, sorry, Darren Mckenzie is the current series leader, but Dave Durand is right up there in the top three. So doing a great job there from the United States of America. Unfortunate to be down in P11, but with only 68 laps into 166 here on the Finger Lickin Kentucky 400, brought to you right here on the Simshed Broadcasting Network on a Saturday night. We're happy to be here with you tonight. It's Aidan Schultz here with Andrew Collins in the booth, bringing all the action to you on a Saturday night. We hope you're enjoying it, and we cannot wait for the next 98 laps.
Yeah, certainly, mate. We'll just sit on board with him here and on board with Barry Neal. Just soak it up and watch the position one car as he runs through the back markers here.
Yeah, and we're on board here, as you said, Andrew, with Barry Neal, but the 199 of Dave Douglas is definitely eating him up very, very quickly. We're down to 2.65, 2.66 seconds of the gap, as when we started after the green flag pit stops, he was 6 and a bit seconds behind, and we're now nearly under 1 second. So Dave is doing a sensational job in that 199 car, managing those tyres. Barry, it really hurt him there, fighting that lap traffic really hard and hurt those tyres. So we'll see what happens here with Dave, whether he gets caught in the same thing as we see him right here behind the 162, I think it is. But he's made that, as that got really close. So really good for Dave to make that move. But you see on the timing, as you see on the tower there, how different sorry guys, I'm just looking at the timing, how different the distance is behind them. As soon as Dave went past that car, he lost a tenth and a half, and it looks like now that gap is getting bigger and bigger. So it's going the other way, as we see Darren Mckenzie and Paul Blocker Jackson there fighting for 5th and 6th, with, I think that's Scotty McClintock in 4th in front of them. Just looking at the drivers that I know. So really good drive by all those guys. We've got down to Nigel Payton in 15th, who started on the outside of the front row. and now Michael Schroeder 15th. They're the only people on the lead lap, so I don't know what's happened with all the other guys as we've gone green to the end at the moment. So just trying to catch up on what's happened and what's happening strategy-wise and why people have gone a lap down. Joshua Carroll-Walden is lap down again now as he came back onto the lead lap. So strategy's playing out here. People are going to do different things. So, yeah, take no notice. I'm just trying to catch up on what they're doing as we see Barry now. As we see a really, really good battle in front of us now with the 29 and the 97 car. So who have we got here? We have Davies and not Dylan Davies and Paul. I can't even pronounce his last name. Sorry, I'm trying to look at the tower and trying to look. Drady. Paul Drady, that's it. Sorry. Dylan Davies and Paul Drady having a really good scrap here at the moment going around. So we'll see how this plays out. But if we look at Dylan Davies and Paul Drady, what a great drive by those two guys. Paul Drady's up 6 spots. Dylan Davies up 10 off the start. And then in behind them, in 9th, Will Jesberg is up 16 off the start. So great drive by all these drivers in the edge of the top 10.
Yeah, he's done really well there. Yeah, and then not far behind is Dave, the Yankee mate, in 15 positions up from where he started. So I'm sure he would have enjoyed last weekend, Aidan.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. I believe, actually, though, he had an issue early on in the race and didn't finish it. So, yeah, I was racing him very hard. I was beating him for a while. We were racing very hard last weekend, and yeah, he had an unfortunate incident. Something happened at some stage. I don't know what happened. I just knew that he was there and he was going well and fighting for, and then he was gone. But we'll go back to this week's race with Dave Douglas there on the outside of the 550, and usually that's Tristan Koch, but I don't. Yeah, it is him. There you go. There's my memory there from the guys I race with every week. Dave Douglas going around the outside of Tristan Koch at the moment, going really well. We're seeing how he's going on this long run. He's got the interval back to 1.79. So, ladies and gentlemen, I told you coming here right out of my mouth what Dave was doing and what I thought was going to happen, and I was willing to eat my words, but I feel like I can say safely that I was right. Andrew?
Yeah, you did well. Obviously spoken to him beforehand.
Actually did.
Oh, like, come on, mate. We can be honest here.
And I am. I didn't.
No, he's doing very well. Obviously got the car under control, got his strategy worked out in his mind, and it was close there, but everything seems to be working out the way he wants it at the moment.
Yeah, the only thing Dave needs to watch is Barry has really, really good car speed. So car speed is everything. Obviously, it's a long run. We're only going into the 80th lap of 166, so we're just about halfway there. Dave's got a long way to go to catch Barry at the moment. Barry might be coming back to the field, but I'm sure Barry's very wise. He's very smart in how he drives, so it's okay for him to let Dave get to within 1 or 2 seconds of him or whatever, and then he might just stretch the legs for a little bit and go, okay, Dave, all right, you got close to me. I'm just going to go, okay, I've got a little bit more. And then he'll go and let him come back again. And then he'll do it like, this is the tactical game of NASCAR. And this is what I love about it. Doesn't mean they're driving 100% all the time. They're playing their gaps. They're managing their gaps, managing their car, managing their tyre wear. Dave's now got to go through lap traffic. They've got to manage that, as you saw that hindered Barry earlier. So this is the thing about NASCAR. It's not just turning left. It's not just going flat out. You've really got to manage your car, your race pace, your strategy, everything that happens. And these guys are doing it sensational tonight. So can't wait to see what happens. And I'm going to guarantee you here, Andrew, or not guarantee you, I'll almost lay my hat on it that we're going to come down to within 1 second after 166 laps between the leader and second place.
Yeah, it's pretty much a game of patience, isn't it? I mean, and I don't have the patience, I suppose. It's the best way to explain it. I can't sit there and do 166 laps around the same track, but it's a game of patience, as you said. It's knowing the car, it's knowing the track, it's knowing your strategy, and one wrong move can destroy your whole race. So it's you got to be on top of your game for a fair amount of time, which in its own is a big feat to match.
And that's the thing about NASCAR and oval racing in general. When you compare it to road or dirt, Andrew, like I come from a road racing background, and when I first got into NASCAR stuff, I really struggled with, as we see Dave Duran get into the wall again. I really struggled with not being able to race too hard too early, and I still struggle with that to this day. But there's a famous saying in motorsport, and to finish first you must finish. So when you're on these races, and it's like nearly 2 hours that these guys are going around, and you've got different strategies, you've got to take different tyres, you've got tyre wear that's happening, and the car doesn't drive itself, so it takes a lot of concentration. And especially the thing a lot of people really struggle with oval racing is they think it's just turning left and doing whatever. But when you got 2 hours of concentration, at the end of the day, the fight you might have at lap 40 might not be worth having, because you've got to get to lap 166 to be able to win it. And you can definitely lose it early. And these guys are doing a great job at the moment showcasing that here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network for the Weekend Warriors Finger Lickin Kentucky 400. Doing a great job. And you say, it's not really your thing, but it takes a lot of concentration. When I jump out of 2.5 hours of driving these cars around, I am sweating.
100%.
It is crazy. But we say Dave Durand, and I think we've got something going for the lead at the moment.
Yeah, Neal's pulled out 2.5 seconds. It's the lead there that JP was on about. But
yeah,
mate, I navigate in a rally car, and it's the same sort of thing. People say, all you do is read a book and just read a line. But when you do, we do 200k competitive and then 100 and something transport between the stages. By the end of the day, it gets to you. So these things are pretty, well, they're not similar obviously to a rally car for all things, but concentration is what it's all about. If I stuff up and make one wrong call, then we are in a fair bit of trouble, whereas these guys make one wrong call, they're into the fence. I can't imagine what it'd be like to do 154 laps and then plough into the fence.
So it's racing, Andrew, and that's what happens as we see. And thanks for your insight there, actually, into your own racing world. That's really good for the viewers to hear and see what you do. But we see the interval. This is really, really interesting. And I've got JP in our ear, and I'm watching this interval, and it was just going out there between Barry Neal and Dave Douglas for P1, P2. Dave was losing a lot, and now it's coming back again. So this is a yo-yo effect. Looks like Barry got caught up in a little bit of lap traffic there. Dave's going to be caught up in the same lap traffic as we see the interval start to go out again. So these guys are playing definite yo-yo. But the one we need to look at, who hasn't got much airtime tonight, is Reuben Phelps. We need to go back into P3 of Reuben Phelps. There he is in the 06 Hot Wheels car out of New Zealand as well. So we've got New Zealand 1, Australia 2, New Zealand 3. Doing a great job there in the 06 car. A little bit off the pace there of the top two guys, but very solid in P3 ahead of Scotty McClintock. Looks like Barry. Oh, no, Dave's in. Dave's looking like he's doing the undercut. He's doing what Barry did in the first pit stop, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Second round of pit stops, lap 91 of the Finger Lickin Kentucky 400 here on Simshed Broadcasting. Dave Douglas, did he get into the pits then? Looks like he did. Barry going to cover him off. Let's have a look. Barry's covering him off. Who's going to get out of pit lane quicker? Did he get a speeding penalty? I can't keep up. So,
And he did there, Aiden. I reckon he's gone in there too hot.
We're about to find out. So Dave Douglas is about to transition out of pit lane in a second. He's probably already out of it. As he comes out of pit lane, he's going to have to put in a really, really hot out lap here to jump Barry Neal. Okay, so it looks like that Dave Douglas did a 15-second stop and Barry's done a 15.1. So, sorry, I'm just trying to keep up with what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, as Barry comes. Okay, so we have a 15.12 for Barry and a 15.15 for Dave. So it doesn't look Dave's going to be able to cover him off here as we see Dave coming onto the back straight. Barry Neal joining in. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Dave Douglas has the hot tyres. He's going to go around the outside of Barry Neal. Here he goes. Watch the 199 car grip up on the outside and take the lead for the first time here in the Kentucky 400 on Weekend Warriors. For the Simshed Broadcasting, we have a change of leader, Andrew.
We certainly do. And we've got some action heating up here. It looks like he's got him covered. As you said, tyres are a bit warmer, but in saying that, and I say we just stay with these two for a while and see what happens.
As we see JCW doing a great job there getting out of the way. Barry has run the low line the whole time tonight, and Dave Douglas has done probably the middle track as he just makes me a liar and run the low. Definitely through 3 and 4 though. Dave Douglas runs the midline. This is going to be interesting to see though, Andrew, because we haven't seen Barry be headed tonight like at the front. We haven't seen him have someone in front of him or have to fight for it. So it's going to be interesting to see what Barry's really got in that car, whether he was playing cat and mouse, whether he had the car speed or what he was doing. Whatever Dave Douglas has done tonight with his strategy and the way he's managed that car has been immaculate, because now he's come into the pit stop and he's come out and he actually has really good car pace. But let's hope he does not. The thing he cannot do is overdrive it through this stint. They're going to have one more stop before we get to the end. He cannot overdrive this car. He needs to keep it clean, needs to keep it fast, and even if Barry wants to have a go and have a pass, maybe let it go and fight it, because we've got another 45 minutes until this race is going to be done.
Yeah, no, you're right there. But Dave's been around a long time too. I remember back when I first sort of heard about iRacing back in 2018 and stuff. He was running the ANSCAR series, so he's been driving these cars for a while. So
he definitely has, as we just saw Paul Jackson transition through the pits. Darren Mckenzie actually. I'm trying to think about what I was saying there. So we see Darren Mckenzie and Reuben Phelps. They're fighting for position. But if you talk about Dave at the front there, he was actually my teammate as well previously as well. So I know a lot about how Dave races, but he's doing great. But Darren Mckenzie moving backwards really quickly as Reuben took that position. Looks like Reuben Phelps has just taken fresh tyres, hence why Darren is moving backwards really quickly. So Reuben ran really long on those tyres, so Reuben might be one to watch at the back end of this race after the last pit stop. So the top 3 currently haven't pitted, so the 4th place getter at the moment is actually your
Dave Douglas,
inverted leader. But we'll see what happens. There's still 67 laps to go here at the Kentucky 400.
Yeah, and like I said, I first got involved that I was running a Facebook page with and Riley Curtis was one of the admin on the page, and he was a teammate of Dave Douglas back then with the RD Designs team, I think it was, or something. And
RCD, yeah, RCD
RCD,
design.
right, yeah. So I remember watching his streams, and that's what got me interested in it. And it was another 2 years after that I actually got involved. But I've been watching Dave for a while.
Well, actually, funny, a little bit of a fun fact here for the viewers. We talk about Riley Curtis, and he's a great guy and sensational driver, and great for the iRacing world. Does great liveries with RCD Designs, and runs A1 Sim Sports. Was part of Mark One Esports. He's actually who got me into iRacing. He is my ex-wife's cousin. So there you go.
Well, there you go.
There's a little bit of fun fact here on a Saturday night for
It's two of us who's got into it.
So yeah, really good to see Riley keep doing and running NASCAR and doing everything he does for iRacing or anything in general. But we'll go back tonight for hang on, I'm just trying to catch up here, ladies and gentlemen. We've got stuff going on out here. We have a lot. Okay, JCW's into the pits. That makes sense. Sorry. Oh, as he's just lost it coming into the pits nearly. He's definitely nearly got a penalty there. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We're just trying to catch up on what's happened at the moment. There's only 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap. So I don't know what's happening here when we are going green to the end, why there's so many cars laps down. I really have no idea.
I think our timing monitor might be playing up a bit, maybe.
No, it's strategy. What's happening here, guys, it's strategy. They weren't able to make it to the end on a full tank, even if they pitted. So people are going to short fill. They're doing short fills now to be able to go at the end as we see Dave Douglas. This is exactly what's happening. They were going to... Yep, Darren Mckenzie's in for his second stop. Yeah, so... he's still not going to be able to make it to the end. So that's what we're seeing on this at the moment. They were probably going to be 10, 12 laps short. And this is me just looking, not driving the car, but looking at cars going a lap down. They needed to do a splash and dash at some stage, be able to make the end. So this is what's happening, why cars are going a lap down. It's going to come back to them, though, on who's going to want to do that dash and take those tyres, or take the dash, not do tyres. Tyres always take longer than fuel in the NASCAR. But if you're doing a splash and dash and need to do a 12-lap run, it might be worth not taking tyres, just to take the fuel and do the 12 laps and get back in. I don't know what's happening here, Andrew. I can't keep up, but I'll guarantee you that is why we only have 4 cars on the lead lap. But I'll guarantee you also, in 20 minutes, we'll have 15 on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's all swings and roundabouts, really, as they say. They'll all come back to each other. These guys will have to stop again. As my timing boards just flick to them all pretty much being on the same lap, so I'm a bit confused, but yeah.
Yeah, no idea. I was just looking at the tower there. I wasn't looking on the timing board, so I might have got that completely wrong. I do apologise.
No, you're right. The top 3 are a lap ahead, but the behind them are all blue, so they've obviously just crossed the line as I was looking at it, and all back on the lead lap.
Yeah, we'll see how we go, but we've currently got Dave Douglas there in P1. The timing is completely going haywire. I understand what you're saying, Andrew, but Dave Douglas currently in P1. He's actually driving away from Barry Neal at the moment, as we're on board with Dylan Gray there in 13th position in the 19 car. Doing a great job at the moment. Up 6 spots on his starting position, so Dylan have to be happy with that, running that car as we go and have a look. But a big mover tonight, and actually is going to have to be my mover of the night. If he can continue this run tonight, we'll quickly get back onto the lead battle at a second, but Will Jesberg is my driver of the night at the moment. Up 17 spots into P8, And generally, when you're not talked about in a broadcast, it means you're doing well. So,
Very true. Very true.
yeah,
You're either in the
generally,
lead or
you're in trouble.
yeah.
So
Yep.
great drive by Will tonight. And you did mention him earlier in the broadcast there, mate, that, you didn't really know a lot about him. And he's been doing a great job. He's got a nice solid car up here there in P8, doing a great job here on a Saturday night. So great job by Will, but let's just hope he can get through the next 150 laps to get to the end, or 154 laps to get to the end and get a solid top 10 finish as we go back to the leaders of Dave Douglas and Barry Neal. It's heating up here. Have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Are they going to make a fight before they get into the last pit stop, or are they going to run 1 and 2 into the last pit stop? If it was me, I'd be sitting light astern, waiting for the last pit stop and having a go. But it looks like Barry's wanting to make that move as we are 110 laps into 166 here on a Saturday night for the Finger Lickin Kentucky 400 on Sinsheb Broadcasting for the next instalment of Weekend Warriors NASCAR Cup Racing. So we see Barry Neal right there behind Dave Douglas, but you see how Barry there lost a little bit of aero as he sits in behind. So it's okay for Barry to get right up behind him, but is he going to be able to make the move as he tries really hard down there on the inside? That's not going to be good for his tyres. As I know Dave and what he says, he runs that car very, very open on his steering ratio. So Dave's not going to be trying real hard right now. He's just going to keep that car under him, and Barry might burn it up. The longer he stays in behind, the more he's going to burn the front of that car up, as we saw when he was getting lap traffic earlier in this stint. So we'll see what happens. But like I said also earlier, Barry has a really fast car. So I don't know what's going to play out here, Andrew. Who have you got your money on, mate?
Sorry, I had my mic slicked up and muted there. That's a very good question. I think Dave's looking pretty good. I'd like to see him win. I've said that pretty much every week I've been commentating. I think I'd like to see him get up there and win, but who knows, mate? The guys have obviously got it in their head at what they're aiming for, what they're trying to achieve. So we might think someone's running in P1 and doing really well, but they could get burnt out in the last couple of laps, or someone else has a better strategy. It's hard to know.
Yeah, definitely hard to know. I'm thinking, I'm just watching and what they're doing. They're definitely not going to be able to get to the end. So if it goes green, it's going to be pit stop tyres and you're to the end. Now I've caught up. I thought that people had to double stint and all that. They definitely don't, because they got 4 sets of tyres. The first round of pit stops were about lap 50. It's only a 166 lap race, so definitely no double stinting. Yeah, I got excited there when I saw a lap down. I thought that it was like that and a strategy that you had to come in, but I don't think it is. So this is the race for the lead, and they're probably going to... This is the only thing that confuses me. They got to about a lap 95 to 100, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong in my ear, when they pitted last. So I'm not sure whether they're going to get to the end. They're definitely not going to get to the end, and it's going to be a short pit stop. It's going to be a short pit stop. So that's where the difference of strategies that I thought earlier, where the guys might have done that early pit stop with the couple of laps of fuel earlier, and they're going to be able to run longer. That's what I'm really interested to see what plays out.
Yeah, very true, very true. We've also got to say a big thank you to the sponsors that bring this all to you. Obviously, Simshed Broadcasting and JP, the man behind all the buttons there that brings you everything you're seeing and is in our ear telling us what's going on around the track. So a lot for him to manage. Short Shift Racing Magazine, big thank you to them. SDK Gaming and track cams for Gourmet, bringing you all the fantastic shots we see. So thank you to those guys. We wouldn't be able to bring it to you without them. So big thank you. Make sure you jump on and follow their pages on Facebook or YouTube and Twitch. All the things we have going on.
Yeah, great call there, Andrew, and great calling out all the sponsors there. Thank you so much for doing that as we go back on board for the lead. As we see Barry Neal in the 22 taking the lead there from Dave Douglas in the 199, but we see Dave holding tight on the high, not letting it go, as this is P1, P2 as we go lap 120 or 119 rather, in the Kentucky 400. Dave Douglas hanging on the outside there, on the outside of Barry Neal. What racing here, ladies and gentlemen, for the first and second place of the Kentucky 400. I can't do this for the next 40 laps, but if we keep seeing this racing from these guys, I have a feeling we're going to. That outside line is really working from the 199 car, but the 22 is really still. Oh, as he's put Dave Douglas into the wall. Oh, no, that is terrible for Dave. That's his night over. That's his night over as we go back to the replay.
Back to the replay there.
As we're on the simsnap.com iRacing photography replay. We'll have a look. So it looked like if we go back next time, it looked like Barry just got a little bit high and got into Dave. They will go back for another look in a second.
Right, a different angle here, just to give JP a minute to work things out. There's a lot going on.
Here we go, ladies. We'll go back for another one. Here we go. Barry Neal coming into 3 and 4. Barry Neal keeping a really tight line. So here's Dave Douglas doing a great job. Dave's pinching a little bit. Barry's keeping his line, going under that black line a little bit. Yep, all good. Everything's all good here. I sound like I'm an admin team.
He's
but
gone on the apron here. I reckon Dave's done that himself.
Hang on. Dave's on the outside. So let's have a look. We got to keep. Yeah, we got to go to the next one. Next corner. Dave's on the outside.
Done very well through this part. Yeah, he has. Neal's ran up high. And
Looks
pushed.
like he has. No, it's the next corner.
Yeah, but he's still run up high and pushed him up.
Oh,
yeah.
Dave came down. Dave came down. But anyway, that's our commentator's opinion. They're
Neal's pushed him up there, and Dave's.
Anyway, we're not here to judge on who's at fault. Let's go back racing.
True.
It was very unfortunate there by Dave Douglas and Barry Neal. So, but also don't forget, Andrew, it's not going to help Barry's car because he's going to have a little bit of damage on the right-hand front of that car. So that's not going to help him. But yeah,
he's still in a lot better position than Dave. But anyway,
yeah, most definitely. I'd much rather be in Barry's than in the pits. So,
I'll leave my personal opinion out of it for the time being.
We're not here to have personal opinions. We're here to call the race. We're calling the race here for the Weekend Warriors NASCAR Racing League here on a Saturday night for the Kentucky or Finger Lickin Kentucky 400 here on Simshed Broadcasting. Calling it tonight is myself, Aidan Schultz, and joining me, as you've heard tonight, is Andrew Collins. And we are having a great time as we see Reuben Phelps there currently in second position, who is the benefactor of that unfortunate incident with the first two there out of New Zealand. So really good drive by Reuben.
As we've got Dave Douglas brought up into the comms box there. You got us, Dave?
Yeah, got you, boys.
Not a happy ending to that one.
Nah, mate. I don't know why. We raced clean for the whole part. We're side by side. I mean, I just came down as a normal racing line, and Barry decided he wanted to run high and run me high, and that's what happened. So, that's racing. But if that's the way you want to race, man, I'll just race the same way back.
Honestly, I agree with you, but it's not my position to sit here and say that. So I'm not
No,
on the
that's it,
track.
mate.
I wasn't in the car with him, so I can't say anything. But
No, that's it. It's hard racing, but I mean, yeah, I suppose it is between me and him towards the end of the race there. But yeah, I don't know. Just sort of that's as I said, it's racing, but yeah, it's aggressive, and I guess we'll race the same way next time.
Yeah, Dave.
Big
Dave.
words said there. Big words said there.
Dave Schultze here, mate. Yeah, good racing, great calling, mate. Great drive. I saw what you were doing with your car. Running a little bit high. You had a really, really long run, really good long run car, as you always do. Really good to be able to make those positions and fight for Barry. Barry had a really big lead at the start, but you slowly just pegged him back. Your first obstacle was Reuben. You got past him. Then you got up to Barry, and you were sort of managing that. And then you had a bit of that pit lane strategy where you were doing the undercuts and overcuts, etc. And it was definitely, as you said, going to be between you two guys. And the racing was great. Really unfortunate to see that incident. And especially in that point of the track, it was really surprising to me to see that incident happen there. I don't know what happened. I know you just said to Andrew what you thought happened. I don't know whether Barry was racing too hard. I don't know. Like, as commentators, we can't say anything, but it was just a really weird place to have an incident.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like I said, you usually come off 4, and as per what lap were we on, 120 something. The 120 laps I'd done before previously, you just go down like every other car does. But for some reason that time he stayed out there, so I guess he was just getting aggressive because he's been on the inside for 3 laps there, nearly 3 laps, and still hadn't made a pass. But that's the disappointing thing, Aiden, is you work your way back up into that position to battle with the leader, and you want to have a good battle and a clean battle, and we had that up until that point. But yeah, like you said, you work your ass off to get there, and then something silly like that. So anyway, it's disappointing, but like I said, racing, but didn't have to happen that way.
Yeah, Dave, I agree, and we do a lot of racing together, and I understand. As we see Reuben Phelps in the pits, and I'll be back to you in a sec, Dave, so stay on there at the moment as we go through the pit stops, so don't go anywhere. Reuben Phelps into the pits at the moment on lap 131 of 166 here at the Finger Lickin 400 for Weekend Warriors on a Saturday night, as we're following Barry Neal around at the moment, as he had the incident with the man we were just speaking to there, Dave Douglas, who will be back on in a second, as we have asked him to stay up for another chat. Reuben Phelps is now going through the pit lane, taking tyres. He was sitting at P2. Reuben Phelps transitioning out of pit lane now. He's now good to go to the end, fighting with Barry Neal for the end. But Barry had a really big lead here, so we're not sure what's going to happen, how this is going to play out. Barry Neal still needs to come into the stop, so Reuben's pit early. He's going to get the undercut here. Let's see how he goes on Barry. How long's Barry going to be able to get this, and how long is he going to be able to stay out on these tyres? So let's see how he goes, Andrew, but I'll just quickly, while we watch this unfold, go back to Dave Douglas and go, as we see... Oh, sorry, Dave. Barry's in the pits, so we just need... Oh, we need to see Barry nearly overshot the pits here.
I'm interested to hear where Dave thought he was and if he had to stop again, where he had to stop again.
We'll just go through the pit stops now. We'll worry about Dave in a second. Darren Mckenzie's in 134 or 166. Yeah, watching. P1 and P2 pitted lap 91. P3 pitted lap 103. So here we go. Darren Mckenzie's going to have a shorter fill here, and that's going to put him right in the box seat. But even though Barry's already just transitioned through pit lane, I'm interested to see where he comes out as opposed to Reuben Phelps, as Reuben Phelps now goes on to the main straight. Looks like Barry's got a good lead on Reuben at the moment. Yeah, definitely. Barry's well in front of Reuben. Reuben's in second, and looks like Darren Mckenzie is going to be a solid third out of pit lane. Scotty McClintock's now into pit lane at a P3. He's going to be fighting Reuben Phelps and Darren Mckenzie for a P3 spot, or at least a top 3 spot, as Reuben Phelps then now goes down Main Straight and clears them. So looks like now our top 3 is going to be Barry, Neal, Reuben Phelps and Darren Mckenzie going into the last 30 laps here of the Finger Licking Kentucky 400 from Weekend Warriors, or in the Weekend Warriors League, right here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network on a Saturday night. But Dave Douglas, if you've still got a copy, mate, we'll keep talking about the incident. We thank you so much for making yourself available, and it must be really disappointing. And you know, mate, you know me personally. I've done a lot of racing with you, and I've had a lot of disappointment too. So I understand what you're going through. But, yeah, mate, anything you want to add in relation to that? Very disappointed to see you be able to be involved in an incident like that. You did a great job being able to trundle that Mark 1 esports car round, or even A1 Sims. I'm not even sure. It could even be just whatever at the moment, whatever you're doing. But you did a great job trundling that car around tonight, and great to call you. And I know what it feels like, mate. So,
that's it, mate. Worked hard to get into that position, but as I said, I know Barry's not a bad guy, and I'm not sure on the anomaly. We'll see if he reaches out, but I know I made slight contact with Reuben. I passed him early in the race, but I apologise straight away on the actual race. So usually when you make contact, you get on the phone and get the guy put a hello. But we'll just wait and see. As I said, it's not a bad guy, but it was aggressive. And I mean, if that's the way we're going to race, then we'll just race that way. I'm happy to race the same way.
No worries, mate. Well, there we go. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There's a bit of raw footage there of a driver right bang out of his seat where the emotions run high and they don't let it hold back. So there we go. We hear it right there from Dave Douglas, who was involved. So this is what I love about the broadcasting. As we are 25 laps to the end, we just heard raw emotion straight out of the seat, as you would in the real life world. So he wasn't holding back on his feelings, but we'll see what happens. But I'll guarantee you both of them will be back in for the next round of the Weekend Warriors Series next Saturday night right here on SimShed Broadcasting. And we can't wait to see whether that spices up next week, Andrew.
Yeah, look, Dylan Davis comes in. I have to, like you said, as a commentator, we can't really comment, but I'll sort of see Dave's point. We're a bit upset. They could have, they'd got around there, like he said, the last few laps earlier, side by side, close enough to each other, but we'll stay out of that and let those guys sort it out. But we're on watching here with JCW, who had an internet connection, I believe it was, to start the race. He's doing pretty well from where he started.
JCW up into P2, but I'll guarantee he needs to pit again. We've seen him out of kilter with the pits at the moment, so yeah,
still better than where he was though. So he's done.
He's doing well. He's just gonna hope for that caution that I've been speaking about all night, which I said he needs that caution to be able to be a factor. And he, at the moment, the way we've seen this race, 142 laps into 166. Oh, I don't think he's going to get one, but in saying that, I might give the commentators curse and they might get one, but we'll see how we go. Yeah, JCW padded. What am I talking about? Seriously. JCW pitted on lap 101. He's got to get close to his pit window at the moment on lap 143. I reckon the next 3 or 4 laps, he's definitely going to have to make that stop. But he's probably going... Well, there's no point him actually extending his period out here on green because his tyres are going to take longer than his fuel. So probably get it done early and get it done. But I'm no expert, so who knows. As we see Reuben Phelps then make the move into position 2 Looks like Barry Neal's got this one tied up at the moment with 22 laps to go. Dave Durand there around the outside doing a great job as well. They're on different tyre strategies, different laps, etc. So a lot to play out here, Andrew. Looks like our top 3 is pretty much played out, but in saying that, like I said, probably put the commentator's curse on them.
Well, it is what it is. We'll just sit in as we watch the last, nearly 20 laps. Boys have done well to get this far.
So we see the long run pace here, guys. As we're on board here with JCW, he's done a really long stint, as we just previously mentioned. 101 was his last pit stop lap, and he's about a second a lap behind the leaders on his average pit time. So, average lap time. So, don't know what he's doing here strategy-wise. He really had nothing to play with. He was really just running around trying to hope for that caution and hope for something to happen, and he's really just running around now just hoping for something to happen. So don't know whether that's going to happen, but if it does happen, he's still going to be at the back of the green flag runners, or the first lap runners, so he's still going to have to make those positions. So Darren Mckenzie there trying to make a move up on him, with Darren Mckenzie actually so JCW is actually in P3 at the moment, so he's not going to be able to get to the end. So our effective top 3 is Barry Neal in P1, Reuben Phelps in P2, Darren Mckenzie P3. Even though Darren's in P4 at the moment, JCW, Josh Carroll-Walden's not going to be able to make it to the end. So looks like that's your effective top 3 at the moment, with 16 laps to go. 18 actually, sorry, I can't count. 18 laps to go. As we see the move made there by Darren Mckenzie on the outside of Joshua Carroll-Walden for P3. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have our top 3 set in, and these 3 are going to go green to the end as long as we don't have an issue. But we've got lap traffic right in front of each other, ready to go. So let's...
Oh, look at that shot. Beautiful shot.
So as we fight these guys, as we go into the last 15 laps, let's get on board with Darren Mckenzie and turn up the volume. Let's do Darren Mckenzie. He hasn't been on there much all night. In P3, see whether he's got anything for Reuben Phelps. And let's crank up the volume and have a listen to Darren Mckenzie for 1 or 2 laps before we're about to lose our voice for the last 10 laps of this race on Simshed Broadcasting Sunday night, Weekend Warriors for the Kentucky 400. There we go,
Here
ladies
we
and
go.
gentlemen. We have just done a couple of laps there with Darren Mckenzie currently in P3 right here for a Saturday night racing at Kentucky Speedway for the Finger Lickin' Good, as I like to call it, 400 right here on Simshed Broadcasting. Barry Neal has an absolutely amazing lead with 18 seconds up on Reuben Phelps. Darren Mckenzie sitting there in P3 and McClintock there in P4 with every car outside of the P4 a lap down. Not sure whether that's strategy, whether that's going to change, but it looks like we've got our P3 running into the last 12 laps. Andrew, what has been your most amazing part tonight? What have you enjoyed the most tonight right here on the Simshed Broadcasting Network?
That's the way these guys can hold it together for as many laps as they do, honestly. I don't have the patience these guys have, so I can't do it myself. But to hit the same line, the same mark every time for 166 laps, I think, weren't we? Yeah, very, very talented people. So big congrats on that side of things. We'll see. I'm pretty sure Barry Neal's got it locked up from here, but who's to know if someone doesn't in the back of the field turn down on him and ruin his race as well.
Yeah, no idea. We never know. It's not over until the fat lady sings, as the saying goes, without that wanting to be disrespectful or anything. But that's the saying, and it's definitely not over as we go inside the last 10 laps here for the Kentucky 400. So really interesting. We're going to navigate right now around lap traffic, but definitely Barry Neal has got this one tied up, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunate incident there with Dave Douglas. Really unfortunate. We don't like to see that with two sensational drivers putting on a great show for you here on a Saturday night on the Simshed Broadcasting Network here for Weekend Warriors. So very unfortunate. But Barry Neal has shown a clean set of heels as we're on there with the 263 Motorsports car of Michael Schroeder, ex-teammate of mine as well. Doing a great job up there into P13. 1 lap down, last car of 1 lap down, chasing down Joshua Carroll Walden. And we're watching Dave Duran now in the 24 car out of the United States of America from the top end view. He's up 18 spots.
What a view that is. That's awesome, that view. I love that, JB. Very well. Very well done. That's a great view.
Great view. I don't know what happened with Dave Durand in qualifying. I'd be really interesting to hear him if we did have the opportunity after the race to talk to him. I don't think we will, but to know why he was right back down into 28th or thereabouts, or 26 off the start, because he's usually not there. But great recovery drive there by Dave Duran to put himself inside the top 10, currently 18 spots up on his starting position as we are now 161 and 166. Andrew, take us through a couple of laps before I bring us home.
Yeah, we're nearly there, mate. We're nearly there. Next time you speak to Michael Schroeder, ask him if he grew up in Roeville, because I went to school with a kid named Michael Schroeder. But anyway, we'll move on from that. My screen's just complete.
As it looked like Andrew has had a little
you
bit.
might have to take
That's all right.
back
I'll take
over,
over.
Aiden. My
I'll take over,
screen's
mate.
sketchy as hell.
I'll take over, mate. You just sit tight and enjoy the racing here for the Kentucky 400 as we go into the last 5 laps. Barry Neal just trying to get under the inside of Joshua Carroll Walden, a lap car. Barry Neal doing a great job out of New Zealand at the moment, and it looks like he's shown a clean set of heels and is going to take this one out. It looks like we have the top 3 set here, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like with 5 laps to go, Barry Neal will be first. As you see, the Hot Wheels car there out of RP Motorsports out of New Zealand. Also, it looks like a New Zealand 1-2 with Reuben Phelps there coming second place at the moment, going around. And we will have Darren Mckenzie the Australian. Someone bringing the fight to the Kiwis here in P3 for the Kentucky 400. Great drive by Darren Mckenzie. He had a great strategy. I thought his tyres were going off early, and he obviously had a look at that and made his strategy change, and he's brought that car up into P3. And he probably wouldn't have been there if we didn't have the incident between Barry Neal and Dave Douglas, but you got to be there. You got to be in it to win it, and Darren Mckenzie's always quick, great driver, great bloke, and really, really good drive so far. As
you said before, Aiden, sorry, you got to be in it to win it. So.
Definitely do. As we go with 2 to go on board with Barry Neal. So we might just do these last 2 laps with Barry and let Barry hail in the sunshine as he's 19.7 seconds up on Reuben Phelps. He has shown a clean set of heels in the 22 Toyota Camry. I believe it's Toyota Camry. In the 22 Toyota Camry at the moment. Great drive here by Barry Neal as we go into the final lap of the next installment of the Weekend Warriors NASCAR Cup Series right here from Kentucky Speedway for the Finger Lickin 400. Brought to you right here on Simshed Broadcasting as Barry Neal comes down the back straight. He's about to go through 3 and 4. He just needs to get through 3 and 4 cleanly, and it is all his right here. And here we go. The 22 of Barry Neal takes out the next round of Weekend Warriors from Kentucky Speedway on Simshed Broadcasting for a Saturday night. Barry Neal in P1. Looks like we'll go back into P2. Will be Reuben Phelps, I believe, is coming across the line in the 06 RP Motorsports Hot Wheels car. Takes the line in P2. Great drive by Reuben Phelps, and followed behind him, Darren Mckenzie brings home a top 3 finish. So what a great race here, guys. We went green for 166 laps. What a sensational drive by all drivers. Andrew, chime in. I can't get my breath. It's just been sensational night.
No, it's been good. And once again, we just want to thank our sponsors, obviously, Shimshed Shed, far out. It has been a long night, Aiden.
Simshed
Broadcasting. JV, the man behind they're doing the buttons, as we watch Barry Neal do some nice skids there. Short Shift Shim Racing Magazine, SDK Gaming, and Track Cams for Gourmet. If it wasn't for those guys, obviously wouldn't be able to bring this to you. So a big thanks to them. Barry Neal's not bad at a skid. Even on the grass there, he can keep it under control. But back to you, Aiden.
Yeah, great drive by everyone. As we saw Barry just airing in his champagne, doing a great burnout there. So as we have a look through the order, or the finishing standings rather, so Barry Neal out of New Zealand P1, Reuben Phelps P2, 19 seconds behind. So that just goes to show how dominant he was. Barry Neal P3, Darren Mckenzie P4, Scott McClintock 5, Paul Jackson, Barry Neal's teammate 6, Dylan Davies 7, David Durand out of the United States of America. P8, Paul Drady. 9, Adam Ariel. 10, Christopher Tomlin as we go across the page. And 11th, Dylan Gray. 12th, Michael Schroeder. 13th, Joshua Carroll-Walden, which is a great drive from him to be able to salvage at least a top 15 out of that start. 14th, Will Jesberg, who had a really, really great start to the race, and we thought he was going to be well inside the top 10. So back there in 14th. 15th, Nigel Payton, who started outside front row. Unfortunate for Nigel. 16th, Mark Smith. 17th, Nathan Button. 18th, Kobe Jordan. 19th, Dave Trevathan. And 20th, Jamie Nankervis. Out of 21, or finishing 21, Sean Stamper. 22, Michael Shaw, Activity Hub Barley Racing. 23, Tristan Koch. 24, Sean King. 25, Mark Johansson. 26, Derek Jacobs. 27, Dave Douglas, who we saw unfortunately caught up in that instant with about 50 to go. 28, Matt Payton. And rounding out the field, I believe 29th, Mirko Dortnack. As I believe we are about to bring up the top three guys into the booth at the moment, we will drag them down in a second for a chat. Just bear with us, guys. And ladies and gentlemen, we have no one else but your race winner, Barry Neal, up in the box. Barry, what a great race, mate. Well won. How'd the race go down from your end? Unfortunately, you got involved in a little bit of an incident there with Dave Douglas, but you shown a really good set of heels through the race. You had a really, really good race car. So, yeah, how'd the race go from your end, mate?
Oh, yeah, no, it was good. I was looking forward to racing with Dave there for a bit more, and it was a shame that we made that contact, actually. So I kind of, I thought I had a little bit on him, but he had that earlier pit stop, and I thought I was just starting to catch him again. I thought that maybe I had a few tenths on him over a stint, but he was certainly really quick, and that early pit stop got him in front, and I thought we were going to have quite a battle there for a while, but it was unlucky we made contact and he decided not to continue. So, but apart from that, the race was good. I was just going around doing my thing. I was quite pleased.
Yeah, mate, sensational drive. You're always quick, as I race against you a lot, so I know how you drive. And it was great to watch and great to call. You had a really, really quick car. And funny you mentioned him pitting earlier because you did that on stop 1. So it's like you changed it. So you pitted earlier on the first one than him, and then he pitted earlier, and it really brought you together. And if you watch the broadcast back, we could see the changes when he was in that second stint after you did the first pit stop. He went from like 6 seconds behind you to down to under 2. And then you went through the pit stop, the green flag pit stop, when he went earlier, and then he got you, and then it was like the same thing. It was like deja vu, and then we were having a good race, and yeah, it was going to be a good race to the end. It was going to be between you guys. So yeah, really great to call. I really have nothing else to say apart from really disappointed that you guys got into each other and both of you couldn't go to the end, but taking all that away, mate, great drive because you were sensationally fast all night, as you always are, mate, and you're doing really, really great at everything you do at the moment. So hats off to you, mate, and congratulations on the win.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was good. I'm really disappointed we Dave and I couldn't continue that battle. Actually, it would have been always nice to to have a really good battle like that. So, but apart from that, yeah, everything was good. I'm kind of trying to learn how to manage my tires over a stint. And it's kind of a shame that we've decided to go, I think, 85% fuel, because I think it takes fuel and price strategy out of the competition, because everyone basically runs the same strategy within a few laps. But if it's kind of been 100%, then you've got that opportunity to do way different strategies. But it was good racing with Dave and Reuben and Darren and Scott.
Yeah, mate, you make a good point. And I got a little bit confused there because we jumped on late for the broadcast to jump in. I didn't have enough time to run the fuel with a couple of laps to see what you guys were doing. And I thought that at some stage someone had to like short fill or whatever, and I got confused on that. And that was not the case. It was definitely a run to the end. But anyway, not taking away from that or any other stuff. Just really, really good drive tonight. I'll let Andrew chime in before I jump on with another couple of questions. But Andrew, anything you want to have a chat with Barry about before we let him go?
Nah, you've covered it all pretty much, mate. Not much I really need to ask.
And I'm in here too.
You got your time coming, Reuben. You just wait. You just wait, mate. You just wait. We'll be there. But yeah, we'll put you on mute, Reuben. We'll put you on mute. No, we're joking. But anyway, Barry, great job tonight, mate, bringing home the P1. And I'm not even going to pronounce your team's name, even though you've told me how to say it a million times. Great job on P1. Anyone you want to thank tonight, mate, for your P1. And great drive by Paul Jackson, too, to have a top 5 for your team. So really good for your team standings tonight as well.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like, here's how you pronounce it. You go, ow, like, how you go, ow, here, lower. It's like,
Altiora.
yeah, just let them kind of pull out a bit more. Aotearoa. Then that's it. But
All
anyway, yes,
All right.
Aotearoa.
We'll do this off broadcast, I think.
Aotearoa.
Yeah.
Aotearoa, mate.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Aotearoa. All right.
Aotearoa.
All right, let's roll on as we need to get through the post race, guys. But that's really interesting for the viewers. So thank you for that, Barry. Anyone you want to thank tonight, mate? Sensational drive.
Yeah. MRX, Ray Sims, Tony Richards, Toyota, and Paul for letting me be a teammate. Mark for putting on Mark and the admin team, and you guys for putting on the broadcast.
No worries, mate. Well, again, sensational drive for a P1 tonight. Look forward to racing you during the week and go to bed tonight and be proud of your achievements. So well done, mate, and that'll be good for you and the team. So thank you for making yourself available.
Thanks.
No worries. And as we go on from the winner of the Finger Lickin 400, we go to P2, Reuben Phelps. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Did you notice me now?
Oh, mate, I always notice you. Come on.
No, just jumped in here.
We got to go through order, mate, so your time will come. But anyway, great drive tonight, mate. Very unlucky there for Dave Douglas to get into that incident. You're always up there in the top 3 or 4. I know how you've been racing lately. We talk a lot outside, obviously, as we're mates and all that type of stuff. But how'd your race play out, and how'd you feel the car went? It felt like in that first stint, or looked like in that first stint, the car sort of went off a little bit and you dropped back. Was that you trying to save tyres? Was that you trying to save fuel? Like, it obviously helped at the end, but I think if Dave Douglas was still in it, I think you only had a P3. How did it feel coming from your end?
It started off okay. I thought once lap 15 came along, I thought my car was actually starting to handle real nicely. But then, for some reason, after the 28th lap of that first run there, it really struggled to turn through the centre, and it just continued on throughout the whole race. And then I think when Dave Douglas caught me, we got into a little bit of a bump there, and I think I got some aero damage. So for majority of the race there, I obviously had some damage. So I think that's where I lost a lot of the ground. But I wasn't really too happy with my car tonight. It was not really doing anything I wanted to do. So I've been trying to get my qualifying laps a bit better and stronger in the recent practices I've done. So I've got some in the qualifying, but lost some in the race. So if I can get it all in between, that'll be really good. But still, I got a podium out of it, so it was good.
Yeah, mate, you can't not be happy with the P2. You've had a really good green run of form at the moment through all the series that you run. You're doing a great job. Great to call. I always called you tonight saying that you were probably going to be there, and you did prove that. Getting a P2, you've been doing a great job, and if you didn't get the damage and all that type of stuff, you would have been up there fighting. So great job by you. Really, really good job, and look forward to seeing you again next weekend and calling you, and hopefully call you home for a win, mate. So we'll see how we go. But Andrew, before we let Reuben go, anything you want to have a chat to Reuben about before we let him go? Because they're a little bit in front of us there over in New Zealand, as we had a Kiwi 1-2. We need to let them go so they can go and do their thing.
Yeah, let him go to bed. What is it? I don't even know. I don't have a clock anywhere on me, so I'm not sure. But no, you've covered it all. Let him go. Good
All
race.
right. No worries, Reuben. Thanks for making yourself available, mate. Before we let you go, by the way, the Hot Wheels livery, I race against it all the time. I mean, I must say it's one of the best liveries I've ever seen. It's amazing. So anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go for your second place here at the Kentucky Finger Lickin 400 for the Weekend Warriors League on a Saturday night, brought to you by SimShed Broadcasting?
To go and like my page of RP Motorsport for my streams that I do. Not exciting, but anyway, they'll do. Gotta bang and say hi to Mum because I'm sure she was sitting there watching me as what she always does. And SimShed Broadcasting for the broadcast and Mark for hosting the league.
Thanks, mate. And a big shout out there to Mrs. Phelps if she is watching the broadcast. Thank you from the broadcast guys and everyone here watching Reuben. He's doing a great job. So good to get him in a P2. So thank you, Mrs. Phelps, for tuning in, for supporting your son. So go hard. Well done, Reuben, on your P2, mate.
You.
All right, guys. So we were meant to have P3 Darren Mckenzie up in the booth, but we don't currently have him in the booth. So unfortunately, we can't bring him to you. But we're just going to roll across now to the championship points after we have rounded out the next round of the championship. So currently, we see P3 that we had tonight. Now consolidating P1 in the championship, Darren Mckenzie on 477. P2 is David Durand on 425. Third is JCW, Joshua Carroll-Orden, 403. Paul Jackson, fourth, 392. Stephen Williams, fifth on 370. Tied up there by Dylan Davies on 370. That's going to be a tight. And we didn't see Stephen Williams drive tonight. So, yeah, that would have been interesting if Steve did join. Barry Neal, the winner of tonight, P7 on 315. Scotty McClintock, 303 in P8. Adam Ariel, 9th. On 298 and Mark Johansson 10th on 295 as we go across the page. In P11, P2 tonight, Reuben Phelps on 287. P12, Greg Spencer on 269. P13, Tristan Koch, 243. Nigel Payton in 14th on 234. Jamie Nan Curtis, 15th on 229. Kay Donnelly, 16th on 214. Reese May, 17th on 206. Raymond Yeager, 18th on 198. Mark Smith, 19th on 195, and Matt Payton, 20th on 194. 21st is Michael Skurlock on 189 from Crank Esports. 22nd is Nathan Legg on 180. 23rd, Parry Anastarticus on 180. 24th, Kobe Jordan, 174. Dave Douglas, 25th, who got unfortunately in that incident tonight on 171. Hamish Gallagher, 158 on 26. Brad Allison, 27th on 157. 28th, Gary Wellman, 155. 29th, Daniel Aguilera Bates, 151. And rounding out the top 30 is Tony Gagliardi on 136 points. So as we wind up here, ladies and gentlemen, for the next installment of the Weekend Warriors League here for the Kentucky Finger Lickin 400 right here on SimShed Broadcasting, we need to bring up and we need to have a look on what you're going to find on SimShed Broadcasting this week here right on the SimShed Broadcasting Network and see what you can tune in and have a look at. So we're about to, so tomorrow night, okay, so on Tuesday, we have the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series right here on SimShed Broadcasting from 8:20 p.m. But that is from Bathurst. But tomorrow night, we have the top 10 shootout for that, who is going to bring the top 10, who's going to start in the top 10 from Bathurst on Tuesday for the Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series. So 8:15 tomorrow night. But we go Tuesday night. You'll see that race. Nationwide Technology Systems V8 Super Series, 8:20 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Australian Eastern Standard Time, right here on SimShed Broadcasting from Bathurst. I love Bathurst. I actually commentated this last year. Like, there's no better track. It's amazing. So tune in here tomorrow afternoon, and then tune in on Tuesday night for that, for Bathurst from 8:20 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Then we move across to Wednesday for the Goodyear AutoCare V8 T2 E-Series on Wednesday at 8:20 p.m. for the next installment of the T2 series right here on SimShed Broadcasting. And then you'll find myself back here next Saturday night right here on the Weekend Warriors Cup Car Racing from 7:20 p.m. next Saturday night here on SimShed Broadcasting, bringing you all the action for the next round of the turning left to the turning left to the turning left and going hard. Cannot wait. My name's Aidan Schultz, brought to you here tonight with Andrew Collins, JP Curia, and everyone here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you loved the night, and we can't wait to see you Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday this week here on the SimShed Broadcasting Network for everything iRacing. We thank you a good night, and we'll see you next time.